this speech a couple nights ago. I had the pleasure of seeing Mark do a version of the speech a couple of nights ago at our sister club Alpha Beta. And I must say, even though it was a fairly long speech at 20 minutes, I was fascinated throughout. He has a remarkable delivery and a wonderful story that I'm sure everybody will find very, very interesting. I'm not going to get into much detail about it, but I would say that he is clearly a person who is comfortable with being in front of an audience. And I suspect that it's partly because, as I learned a couple of days ago, he has a career of being in sales, but also I'm sure practice, practice, practice. He has done this speech more than once, I'm sure. Karen told me or told us about what she saw a while ago, and that's why she has introduced him to our club. I'm so glad he has come. So now it is my pleasure. Oh, and one last thing for the timer. I think the best timing would be green at 15 minutes, yellow at 17.5, and red at 20. And I think if it goes well, we might have time for questions at the end. And now, without further ado, Mark Scotch, The Oregon Trail, a kidney donation journey, The Oregon Trail, a kidney donation journey by Mark Scotch. Thank you.
Do I have my screen up, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much, Toastmaster David, and a special thanks to Karen for being the discovery of this, I guess. I appreciate the opportunity to talk, and afterwards, I think you'll know why. So I started this out because, of course, Canada, and I've done 2 talks now for Canada, and this is taken from the highest point in Wisconsin. It's called Timms Hill, and I grew up about 10 miles from this place, and it's quite winsome, I would say. And I made the joke last night that I grew up on Canada, not in Canada, because this is the end of the glacier. This is the terminus of the glacier. Highest point in Wisconsin is all gravel, dirt, and everything, and I think most of it came from Canada. So thank you guys for that. So a little bit about me. My wife and I have 3 grown boys. We have 3 grandkids. I started becoming more active around my mid-40s. Before that, I was coaching Little League and things like that with the kids, spending a lot of time with family. So about that time, I started cross-country skiing, being in Wisconsin. Summertime, I was rollerblading, canoeing, and kayaking. Matter of fact, I've made many trips up to Canada, been to James Bay twice, Lake Winnipeg once, and canoeing and kayaking up there. And then I started mountain biking. Mountain biking really caught me. The focus of mountain biking I really enjoyed it. David mentioned I was in sales. It was quite a stress release. So I got into biking pretty heavy, and I really enjoy it. And then at 64 years old, which is about 18 months ago, I donated a kidney to a guy named Hugh Smith. Not exactly to him, and that's part of the story. I met Hugh Smith. My wife and I were going to Texas for the winter. We ended up stopping in Louisiana at a microbrewery. Saw this guy sitting next to me. Either he started talking to me or I started talking to him. I can't remember. And we just hit it off. Started talking about sports and politics. He got up to leave after a little bit, and I said, "Where are you going? We're just kind of getting started here." And he said he had to go home, and he was kind of hesitant about it. And then he finally said he had to go home and go on dialysis. He had to start at 8 o'clock every night, and it went till 6 in the morning. So for 10 hours every night, he was on dialysis because his kidneys had failed. And they failed due to ibuprofen use when he was a jockey. He was a jockey, raced horses, and the beating of the body and probably not eating very much. They tried to stay light. He ended up damaging his kidneys, and then at about age 56, 55, they failed. So then he kind of told me as he's walking out the door, he's looking for a kidney. And I immediately said, "Well, I'll give you one of mine." And I don't know why I said it. It just came out. I wasn't even thinking about it, but my sister-in-law had donated about 12 years previous to meeting Hugh. And I think for some reason that just stuck in my head. So I went with it. My wife kind of looked at me funny, but that's the way it went. So I donated my kidney on September 30th of 2020 using what's called the voucher program from the National Kidney Registry. National Kidney Registry, I don't think is in Canada. It's an organization in Wisconsin or in the United States that creates a network of hospitals. They have about 100 hospitals in this network. And about 5 months after I donated, Hugh got a kidney. Originally, I was going to have to go to Shreveport to Louisiana many times. During that trip of trying to figure out how to donate my kidney, my thoughts are going down there. I put together this ride to go down the Mississippi River just on my own. And then when I found out about this thing called the voucher program, I learned I did not have to go to Shreveport. I could do it in Madison, Wisconsin, about 90 miles from my home. But I still had this ride that I wanted to do. And then I learned about this voucher program, and it just made so much sense to try to share that with somebody possibly. And then the voucher program allowed Hugh to get the best kidney. So my kidney actually went to somebody in New York. Hugh got a kidney from Southern California. And we were not in the hospital at the same time, not even at the same hospital. By me donating, giving Hugh a voucher, he received priority on the wait list, and that's how he got his kidney. So some interesting facts about kidney transplants, and I'm using a combination of US and Canadian statistics. I couldn't find as many in Canada as I wanted to, but I think it's probably pretty general. And it's really interesting fact, 1 out of 750 people are born with one kidney, and most of them don't even know it. And I've run into a number of people in the last 18 months that have told me that. One guy told me he didn't know until he was 60 years old that he only had one kidney. He lived his whole life. So that's interesting in the fact that people can live with one kidney. And I always thought that people that needed a kidney they got it from somewhere. And I found out that through deceased donors, which I have been once since I started driving license, got my driver's license, most of us have, but only 3 out of 1,000 people die in such a way that their organs can be used. So there is a huge shortage. In Canada, from numbers that I can figure, 8 people die every month waiting for a kidney transplant. In the United States, by comparison, it's 13 every day. And when I read 13 die every day waiting for a kidney, and I thought there really shouldn't be a reason for that, because there's got to be enough healthy people that if we all share, if enough of us shared one, we could affect that number. So that's what I'm doing. So up in Canada right now, there's 3,100 people on the wait list, and out of that, 8 of them die every month waiting for a kidney. And one stat that I didn't add the other night, that I didn't have the other night, but I added tonight, by doing the math in the States anyway, and I think in Canada it's probably similar. Well, it's got to be, because there's much more of a need in the States. If we would fill one sports stadium, one time every year, in addition to the people that come forward normally to become living donors, if we filled that stadium one time every year, there wouldn't be a wait list. Pretty interesting. So the Oregon Trail, what is it? Well, the Oregon Trail is just a story of my kidney donation and the advocacy efforts of my wife, Lynn, and I. And more detail, we created the Oregon Trail to be able to inform as many people as possible across the United States and Canada of the urgent and dire need for living kidney donors. We want to dispel myths about donation. Because of what's called paired exchange and pools, hospitals work together. You don't necessarily have to be a match to anybody in particular. You can just decide you want to be a donor, and they'll find a place for your kidney, believe me. So we just try to share the knowledge on the latest updates concerning kidney transplants. In our case, it was the voucher program. It made my donation so much easier being in Wisconsin, trying to help somebody from Louisiana. And a big part of the ride is just to demonstrate that after donation, a person can go back to their normal life. What's normal? Well, for me, I didn't know what they're talking about when they were saying normal and all the information on the internet. I thought maybe it's like sitting on a couch watching TV. And I'm pretty active, so that kind of concerned me. And I'm just trying to demonstrate through these rides that you can go back to a normal lifestyle. So what we do on these rides is we just basically try to generate media media attention, to create awareness, to be able to speak to people like yourselves probably that don't know these facts and don't know much about this whole kidney transplant thing. So we get on radio, we get on TV. On the top left is Hugh Smith, a guy from Louisiana. Him and I did a radio interview together once. Top right is in Albuquerque. A few months ago, I met with that gentleman there, Pat O'Brien. He is on dialysis looking for a kidney. We did a TV morning show together in Albuquerque. And down below on the left, we send out invitations and basically let local politicians, where we're going through on the ride, what we're doing. A lot of them will join me. They'll write a proclamation or some kind of a citation. They get their name and face in the paper or the TV, which they like. And then we also get more exposure because they have media as well. Bottom right is something called Humankind. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. So the first ride, I called the Oregon Trail 1.0 or TOT 1.0. Started from Madison, Wisconsin, went to Louisiana along the Mississippi River. It was right around 1,500 miles. The map says 1,220, but because of Google, I couldn't get all the stops in there. So we followed the river quite close. I ride on a mountain bike. I don't even have a road bike. I try to get off the road as much as possible, off the pavement. So I was on what's called levee roads, which are just dikes and dams built to keep the Mississippi from flooding, and on top they're kind of flat on top. So I was riding my mountain bike down those. And it took about 3 weeks. And we had about 30, 40 different media events. St. Louis University had a great event for us. And these are some of the highlights. The top left is our car. My wife joins me on these. She's my support vehicle. She doesn't necessarily hang real close to me, but with phones, if I need any help for any reason, or if I have to get to a media event and I can't get there in time on the bike, she'll come get me. We'll go do the event, and then she'll take me back to where she picked me up. And just some different sites. Top right is St. Louis with the arch. Down at the bottom right is Hugh Smith, myself, and my wife. That's the microbrewery where we met. And when we got down to Louisiana, I was short a kidney. Hugh was up a kidney. And we just kind of recreated the event where we first met. So this Humankind thing was rather interesting. It was USA Today, Best of Humankind. And what they did, they got wind of my story. They tracked me. They kind of trailed with me on the ride, put together a video, and then late last year, put together a best of, first time ever, Best of Humankind Awards. There was 11 different categories. I happened to be in a category called Triumph of the Year. People called in. That was a vote, basically. So I ended up getting the most votes. So we got this award, and I use it as leverage to give credibility to the whole effort. And basically, it's really a cool thing to give our efforts some credibility, some more credibility. So the second Oregon Trail ride, if you remember, I told you my kidney went to New York. I was going to ride my bike from Wisconsin to New York. Well, it didn't work out quite that way. I ended up going from Martha's Vineyard back to Wisconsin. It was about 1,600 miles. Went down through Times Square. I've never been to Times Square before. I rode my bike out of there, hit the bike path, went up to Albany, ended up going to Niagara Falls. I was originally going to go through Canada, but because of COVID, I couldn't. I had a plan to go up on that little point by Madeline Island up there, take the ferry, end up going to Mainland and go up to Sault Ste. Marie, and then down into Wisconsin. But that didn't work out, so I had to go the southern route to Canada, to Cleveland. Same thing, we just tried to create media. We had about 70 to 80 different media events on this ride. Some of the highlights of that were the center top, that's my grandson. I spoke to his class. There's about 450 students. Bottom right is a picture of that. Students and faculty. Center on the left is my granddaughter. She was in 2nd grade. We came through the parking lot because COVID was still there. So we stayed outside on that one. Bottom left is Cleveland Clinics, which is a real major hospital in the States. And again, top right is proclamations that we talked about earlier. So the Oregon Trail TOT 3.0 and 3.5 were 2 races that I've done in the past on 2 kidneys. and I kind of quit. I kind of retired from them, but last year I decided to do them one more time each. They're in the winter. One's a 135-mile race. The other's a 160-mile race. I did them both on bikes, but I've done them both on skis as well. I cross-country skied it. Takes 30, 40 hours to do these events. On bike, I think my fastest time is 20 hours. Last year, one of them, it got down to 20 below zero. So it's kind of a challenge, and I wanted to do it on one kidney, and it worked out. I finished both of them. I actually have gone up to Canada and done one too, twice. It's called Active Epica, and it's up out of Winnipeg. And we've gone up twice to do those. People from Canada come down and do ours too, so it's always been a fun time. The Oregon Trail 4.0, I just got done a few weeks ago. Again, if you remember, I said Hugh's kidney came from Southern California. So I wanted to retrace the route of his kidney. I started in San Diego, went up to Los Angeles, hit Phoenix and Albuquerque, and I ended up in Lubbock, Texas. And we stopped there. And highlights of 4.0 was we went to UCLA Medical Hospital, USC, UC Irvine. Again, that's that center picture was from Albuquerque. The right was Phoenix. They had me ride my bike in on the TV morning show kind of a thing, interview. I had to come in, ride the bike, make that turn. I'm glad I didn't fall down. It was kind of a tight turn, but it was fun. We have a lot of fun with these, but they're very serious. Pat O'Brien in the middle, he's a year younger than me. He's looking for a kidney. I mean, he probably won't be one of the 13 that die, but it could. Dialysis is not a cure for kidney failure. It's a stopgap measure, and it's been described as a slow death. Dialysis just cannot do as good a job as a regular kidney can. So the next ride is going to be 405. Going to start next March 2030 or 2023. I'm going to start in Lubbock where I left off and end up in New Orleans. And again, we'll be hitting all these major transplant facilities along the way and try and get media attention for the same thing. So if you look at the map, I've kind of covered it. Although there's some gaps from International Falls is where one of those races started. And then the other winter race was up in northern Wisconsin. So I'm trying to hit north, south, east to west. When I get all done, it'll be a little over 6,000 miles. Now, for some reason, my screen isn't showing me the timer, so somebody can let me know if I get close, okay?
The green has just come up.
Okay. Okay, now I see it. I moved down, so I see it now. So if you want more information on what I'm doing and information on organ transplant, I put a lot of information on my website. It's www.markscotch.com. Not everybody can be a donor, we understand that, but if everybody can just learn a little bit, just explaining to somebody maybe how to learn more about becoming a donor, or somebody that needs a kidney. I actually meet with people like Pat O'Brien to try to help them find a donor, but it also gives them it helps them in their disposition. They're thinking somebody else is out there helping them. So if we can all help a little bit, that'd be great. Also have a Facebook page called the Oregon Trail, which is easy to find. Up in Canada, we have an organization that I belong to. It's in Canada and the US. It's called NKDO, National Kidney Donation Organization. And Rachel Benzler is part of our organization up there. And I'll try to remember to put her email address in the comments, but she is part of the organization that I belong to. And that organization strictly mentors people that are interested in being a donor or want to learn more. And that's all we do. It's people that have donated already. And we feel that if somebody's already done it, we're probably the best coaches. Up in Canada, you can go to kidney.ca and it'll tell you a lot of information as well. And KDO, again, just people that have donated want to help other people. So to wrap it up, living donors, you can save someone's life, literally. Through the voucher program, I actually helped 2 people. My kidney went to somebody in New York, plus Hugh got a kidney. So that's kind of a nice bang for the buck. You don't have to be a match in today's medical sphere. They'll find somebody that'll, if anybody's interested in learning how to become a donor, they'll definitely find somebody. Don't need to know the recipient. A lot of people do it altruistically. They never find out who got their kidney, and they go in just on their own, not even having anybody in mind. If I would ever need a kidney, I would be given top priority with the National Kidney Registry because I donated through them, and that's very common. I'm sure it's the same in Canada. No cost to the donor. Basically, you can be back into work in a few weeks. And it's a pretty interesting way to be able to help somebody and really not change your life very much, or little, or maybe nothing at all. Can we turn to a normal lifestyle? We have a kidney Toastmasters club called Kidney Stories Club, KISS, K-I-S-S. If anybody's interested, we meet every second Sunday, and it's a lot of people like myself that have donated, and a lot of people looking for kidneys. And we're trying to help them speak better, get their story together so they can go out and tell their story. That's it.
Thank you very much, Mark.
So David and Karen, was it similar? Did I tell the same story or not?
Oh, very, very close. Very close. Now, maybe some of our members have a question or two for Mark. By a show of hand, do you have anything you'd like to ask? I guess you've covered it all. Super.
Actually, I'm raising my hand.
Oh, you are. I cannot see it.
And also Karen, but Karen, you can go first.
Thank you. Is there any other organ that can be given as a living donation?
Yes, the next most popular one is liver, and I'm looking into that myself. It's interesting. I donated in Madison, Wisconsin, and they do a lot of transplants. So kidney was no problem. At my age, it was more health. When you get into your 60s, it's more about how healthy you are than about age. But they had a hard break at 60 for liver. But on my visit, when I stopped at USC Keck, I found out that Keck will go to 70 on the liver. So as soon as I'm done with 4.5, I'm going to get evaluated and see if I can do a kidney or a liver, because it's a little bit more recovery. And so they take a piece of the liver, give it to somebody else, and both livers grow to the normal size. The kidneys rejuvenates. I think you can also donate lung, but that's quite rare, I think, and also part of the pancreas somehow. That's all I know of.
And Ruth?
Yeah. Hi, Mark. Thank you very much for this presentation. It was beautiful and heartwarming to see how you do that for someone you don't really know, because I'm a mom. I could do that for my children, but you did that. So my question for you, Mark, is what was in your mind when you were in the hospital table ready for surgery? What crossed your mind at that moment while you were about to be, I don't know, anesthesia and everything else? What crossed your mind at that point where you were about to donate that kidney?
It's very interesting you asked that, because I didn't know what to expect either. I thought I'd go in there. I was very comfortable with the medical end of things. I had total confidence in the hospital and my surgeon. I didn't have any anxiety about that. My wife could not be in the hospital with me because of COVID rules at the time. So I was by myself, and USA Today wanted footage of my surgery and everything. So there's a camera person there. So one of the videos, you can see some of that if you go to my website. But they were asking me some questions, and they asked me the same question. Oh. And I was like, I got very emotional, because it struck me that here I am, 100% healthy person in this hospital, gonna have surgery, and I knew I'd go, 99.999%, I was going to leave the hospital healthy as well. But I felt so much empathy for the people that were in the hospital because of, well, I was on the kidney floor, but it just struck me how fragile health is and how random it is. And I was so grateful, and it really kind of got to me that I just felt sorry for so many people. I mean, I would give another kidney if I had it, but I can't. So this organ trail is my way of giving more kidneys.
Thank you very much, Mark.
It's kind of a long answer. Sorry about that.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I think it would be probably a good time to do that evaluation form, which Maxime has already put onto the chat queue. And if you could take 2 minutes, Mr. Timer, could you give us all 2 minutes to fill that out?
Where does that go, David? Will I get those somewhere?
If you look at, or where does the link go? The link goes to the chat, and then the Maxime will email you the collection. Once
I gotcha.
they come in.
Hey, thank you.
And I think would be a good time to shut off the recording now, if you haven't already.
Oh, yeah. Okay.